Okay na po, ma'am.
A pleasant morning to each and every one of us, especially to our supervising instructor, Miss Dr. Christina L. Javier. Ma'am, good morning. We are the group 3 and we are now going to present the activity 4. It's all about the lesson planning. Before we start our presentation, may I call on Mr. Christian Lloyd de Vera to lead us the prayer. Sir.
Yeah, good morning to everyone. So let's bow down our heads and let us pray. Okay, Lord God Jesus, Lord, maraming salamat, Panginoon, Lord God, sa oras na to, Lord God. Lord, patuloy po kami, Panginoon, na nagpapakumbaba, Lord God, nagsusumamo, Lord God, at humingi ng kapatawaran, Lord God, sa mga nagagawa naming kasalanan, Lord God, sa isip, sa salita at sa gawa, Lord God Jesus. Lord, give us strength, knowledge, and wisdom, Panginoon, sa aming presentasyon sa oras na to, Lord God. Na Lord, ikaw po ang manguna sa bawat puso ng bawat isa po sa amin, Lord God Jesus. Lord, apart from you, Panginoon, we can do nothing, Lord God Jesus. Lord, balutin mo po kami, Panginoon, ng ngayong banal na dugo at laman, Lord God Jesus. Tago mo po kami, Panginoon, sa iyong banal na likuran, Lord God, upang makamit namin ang katagumpayan sa oras nito, Lord God Jesus. Lord, maraming salamat muli, Lord God. Sa iyo namin binabalik matas na papuri, pasasalamat sa pangalan mo lamang, Jesus. Amen. Amen.
Thank you so much, sir. And now we prepare a short video to give you a glimpse of our member, of every one of us. I should say. Sir, play the video. Thank you.
Sinimulan ko tong walang naniniwala sa paligid ko. Ano? Susulatan ko lahat ng mga blanco pahinga at masisipagan ko pa ay maubusan pa ako. Susulatan ko lahat ng mga blanco pahinga maubusan man ang hininga. Di na para ako ulit tumigil pa. May bulan pipipingi sa
Thank you, Sir Marvin. And now, let us proceed to our activity. Activity 4, lesson planning. So allow me to read the aims and purposes of this activity. At the end of the activity, I should be or we should be able to identify the correct format of lesson plan for a specific topic or subject, identify the different parts of a lesson plan for a specific topic or subject. And next is compare and analyze the formats of lesson plan introduced in the campus and or the DepEd format as observed from the downloaded LP. And next is to develop a clear and legible lesson plan as required by the supervising instructor, professor, faculty expert, and integrating their suggestions. Next slide, sir. So my responsibilities. So what is this lesson planning or lesson plan all about? Lesson planning is the teacher's roadmap of what learners need to learn and how it will be done effectively during the teaching learning process. It provides teachers with a general outline of teaching goals, learning objectives, and means to accomplish them, and is by no means exhaustive. It is on this note that teaching interns write lesson plans that function as a blueprint in order to achieve a quality, effective, and efficient teaching learning process. Next slide, sir. Next slide pa, sir. So, may I call on Mrs. Lina De Vera and Mr. Christian Lloyd De Vera to present to you this space of activity. Ma'am and sir, the screen is yours.
Okay, so magandang umaga sa ating lahat, lalong-lalo na sa ating dekana na si Ms. Cristina Terebe Lamson Hambier, and especially sa ating mga co-interns. So let's proceed. Let's start my observation, reflection, and insight. So sabi dito, the traditional lesson plan is the most basic lesson plan format. It has 5 major parts, and these are objectives, objectives, subject matter, content, procedures, evaluation, and assignment. It should be SMART. So next. So sabi doon, kailangan ang lesson plan, it should be SMART, which is it should be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Especially time. Napaka-importante yung time sa ating kasi makikita natin sa number 1, sa layunin, makikita natin doon, binibigyan tayo ng 60 minuto sa ating talakayan. So sabi dito, major parts of the lesson of the traditional lesson plan, first is layunin or objectives. So sabi dito, a specific statement about what students are expected to learn or to be able to do as a result of studying a program. So napaka-importante ng layunin or objectives. Dito na po pumapasok yung 3 domains. So we have 3 domains, which is first is number 1 domain is cognitive. So cognitive, pangalawa naman meron tayong affective, and third is meron tayong psychomotor. So pakibalik po sir doon sa slide. So yan po. Sabi dito, it has 3 subparts. The cognitive domain refers to the kind of intellectual learners that consider the mind. The affective domain involves interests, attitudes, opinions, appreciations, values, and emotional sets. And the psychomotor domain includes utilizing motor skills and the ability to coordinate them. So next po. So yun, number 2, paksa, aralin, subject matter or content. It is the literal knowledge or ideas to be discussed and understood. It is also useful to the student or learners who are receiving the information. It contains topic references, materials needed, values, integration, and strategies. So aralin, subject matter or content is one of the very important of the part of a lesson plan, kasi makikita natin dyan, nandyan na lahat, nakapaloob na dyan lahat ng kailangan nating i-apply para sa ating students. So kung wala po yung aralin or subject matter content natin, our lesson plan is it's nonsense, and walang saysay yung pagbuo natin ng lesson plan kung wala yung subject matter natin. So subject matter is very important, kasi dito nakasalalay yung pagkukunan natin, paghuhugutan ng ating topic para maibigay ng buo sa ating mga mag-aral. So number 3, siguro ipagpapatuloy ni Ma'am Lina yung number 3. So Ma'am Lina Esdevera, please proceed to number 3. Thank you po.
Okay po sir, maraming salamat po. Okay po. Good morning po ma'am. Good morning everyone po. So let's proceed po for number 3. Ang proseso ng pagkatuto or procedure. So in this procedure, so it has 7 subparts. So letter A, panimulang gawain or preliminary activities. So serves as the introduction of the classroom observation. So ito na po yung nag-ano sa mga sa estudyante na Dito na po nag-uumpisa yung pag-observe sa mga gawain sa school. Then letter B po, developmental activities. To enhance the literacy skills, activate the previous learn of the learners, and unlocking the difficulties is important to ensure that there is no distraction during the lesson. Next slide, sir. So, letter C po, pagganyak or motivation. So, a learner is not learn when he is not motivated to learn. So, an activity that related to the new lesson. Ito na nga po yung sa motivation. Pero dito sa motivation, related din po siya sa lesson na ipapagawa niyo po. Then letter D, paglalahad ng paksa or presentation of the lesson. So it could be a bridge from the motivation to the discussion. Ito na po, paglalahad na po ng ating pagtatalakayan po. Next po is pagtatalakay ng paksa at layunin or discussion. The teacher introduces the lesson, and the student should be involving in discussion. It is also to interpret, describe, and explain the lesson. So yun po. Ngayon po, susunod po si Ma'am Jovian Garcia po. Maraming salamat po.
So ayun, thank you ma'am. So next is paglalapat or application. Apply their learning to new situation or context beyond the lesson and connect to their own lives through activities. So this application those activities that learners can relate to or have expressed concern about. And next is paglalahat or the generalization of the new lesson learned. So this generalization is the ability to use the skills that a student has learned in a new and different environments. Next is pagtataya or the evaluation. It helps the teachers to evaluate every student's individual ability and subject area. So this evaluation assess each learner's attainment of the objective like oral, written, or applied performance assessment. And the last one is the takdang aralin or the assignment. Increase the learning capabilities of the student. So assignment are the tasks given to students by their teachers. So that's all for today. Thank you. Next presenter is Ma'am Rona and Ma'am W.
For this phase of activity, may I call on Miss Ronaldine Sanchez and Davlin Garcia.
Yes, ma'am. Mauna po muna si Ma'am Rona. Ma'am Rona.
Thank you, Ma'am Mia. Good morning, everyone. Wait lang. Okay, so again, good morning, everyone, especially to our supervising instructor, Ma'am Christina Javier. And now, let's proceed to this question. Number 1, does the learning plan reflect principles of learning and alignment across goals and assessments? Yes, and they should be aligned because they reveal how well students have learned what we want them to learn, and instruction ensures that they learn it. For this to offer, assessments, learning objectives, and instructional strategies need to be closely aligned so that they reinforce one another. Building alignment between assessment and learning outcomes also allows you to develop and communicate the pathway for students' learning progression. And it enables you to explain what knowledge and skills were expected on entry to the course and the knowledge and skills that will be developed throughout the course. So aligning this will not only benefit the students by ensuring the validity, reliability, and transparency of the assessments, but it can help to ensure that the right skills and knowledge are being assessed at the right time using appropriate methods. Thank you, everyone, and this part will continue uh, by Ms. Davlin Garcia. Ma'am, good morning po.
Yes, good morning po sa ating lahat. Pagpatuloy ko lang po ang katanungan sa number 1. Does the learning plan reflect principles of learning and alignment across goals and assessment? If assessment are misaligned with learning objectives or instructional strategies, it can undetermine both student motivation and learning. Consider these two scenarios. Your objective is for student to learn to apply analytical skills, but your assessment measures only factual recall. So yung objectives po natin, doon po tayo nagbabatay kung na-meet ba ng estudyante ang ating pinag-aralan, yung ating layunin. And the second is your assessment measures student ability to compare and critique the arguments of different authors. But your instructional strategies focus entirely on summarizing the arguments of different authors. Consequently, students do not learn or practice the skills of comparison and evaluation that will be assessed. So, bali po sa assessment, hindi po nasusukat yung kakayahan ng isang bata batay sa kanyang nakukuhang score. Kasi nga, ngayon, siyempre, uso na po yung cheating. So, hindi po nasukat ang kakayahan ng isang bata batay sa kanyang nakukuhang score. So, yun lamang po. Thank you.
To give us more insights in this phase of activity, now may I call on Mr. Alvin Poserio and Mr. Warlito Padera.
Okay, good morning. Sa ating lahat, good morning po, ma'am. The next question. You are going to teach the same learning plan introduced to you. Would you follow the same content and format? If yes, why? If not, why? What? How would you make it different? Different. If we will be given a chance to reteach the same content of the lesson plan, we will absolutely follow the same content because of our mastery of the learning plan. We believe the learning plan introduced to us is already capable and enough unless there are changes in the curriculum. Naniniwala po kami na if we will be reteaching something that is presented to us, pe-present po namin yung dati, unang-una kasi ito po ay na-master na po namin, maski nakapikit, guro ay alam po namin yung aming mga gagawin. It will be discussed to us further by Mr. Warlito Padera.
Mr. Warlito Padera, sir.
Yes, hello po, good morning. If you are going to teach the same learning plan introduced to you, would you follow the same content and format? If yes, why? If not, why, what? How would you make it different? Yes, it's better to give the sustainable, innovative, transforming activities for the learners to be able to make the lesson engaging. Not all things need to change the make difference, as says goes by wise men adapt a plan for better learning. Yun lamang po.
Thank you so much, sir. Sabi nga nila, hindi lahat ng bagay ay kailangan ng pagbabago. Minsan, kailangan lang natin i-adapt yung mga positive style or techniques ng ibang tao at pwede nating i-apply ito sa ating buhay at para mas maging epektibo ang ating strategy sa pag-solve ng ating problem or sa mga bagay-bagay. Next slide, sir. So let us now proceed to my exhibits, evidence, or documentation. The first drop. Attach the first drop of your lesson plan. Next slide, sir. So here's the first draft of writing our lesson plan. So let me give you a glimpse of insights in writing draft of our lesson plan. Before we start to plan a lesson, we need to identify the learning objectives because the learning objectives will identify the learning of the class meeting or the class for which we are planning. So if we design an effective learning activities and create a strategies for accomplishing this objective. So we prepare a 6 steps for you in writing a draft of writing a draft or planning a lesson. Step 1, we have outline the objectives. This helps to determine what the students need to learn or accomplish by the end of class. It is the answering this question helps determine a teacher's objectives. So here are the questions. What is the topic of the lesson? Next is what is that I want students to understand or be able to do by the end of the class. Next is what do students need to take away from this lesson? What are most important concepts, ideas, and skills the students need to grasp and apply? Step 2 is to develop an interesting introduction. If possible, let us start with a question or activity to engage the students' attention because a creative introduction can stimulate their minds and encouraging thinking. Next step is planning learning activities. There are several ways of conveying subject matter and teaching a lesson to students. Such as using real-life examples, analogies, and certainly visuals. And we should estimate how much time they will have to spend on each activity so that every objective will be accomplished. And next step is determine how to check for understanding to see if the students learn what the lesson set out to teach. Step 5 and step 6 will be discussed by Mr. Jericho Garcia. Sir.
Thanks, Ma'am Mia. Good morning, everyone. So let us now proceed to step number 5. So step number 5, develop a conclusion and a preview. An effective conclusion should summarize the points covered in class and also preview that will be covered in the next lesson, maybe even explaining how this lesson relates to the next. Step number 6, create a realistic timeline. Estimate how much time each activity will take and plan extra time for each. Also, plan just a few minutes at the end of the class to go over uncovered points. or topics that may not have been understood by the students. Sum up the key points.
Narito si Ms. Trisha Argune and Mr. Marvin Cruz Bulataw para himay-himayin yung mga parts ng lesson plan para sa aming final draft ng lesson plan. Ma'am and sir?
So
Yeah.
yan, before we start, we will just like to acknowledge who made this lesson plan po as an example for our activity. So may I call on Ma'am Lara po and Ma'am Leticia to give us ano po the things na dapat nating malaman po before namin i-discuss to. Kung saan ba nakuha, kung saan ba pina-check, ganun. Because sila naman po talaga yung owner ng mga content ng LP na po ito. So, Ma'am Lara?
Yes po, good morning everyone and good morning to our supervising instructor, Dr. Christina L. Javier. So, our lesson plan is personal ko po siyang lesson plan na ipina-check po namin ni Ma'am Leticia De Vera sa Speaker Eugenio Perez National Agricultural School na mga Filipino teachers na andon po. So, yun po. Thank you.
Okay, yan po. So, yan po, it is made by Ma'am Lara po. So, yan, Sir Marvin, pwede na po nating i-present.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, group mates. So let's proceed to the letter B. Attach a final write-up of your first lesson plan. Okay, this will be the final draft. Next, we have. Okay, ayan po yung. Ayan. So, ito po yung final draft ng ang aming lesson plan. So, on this final draft, we need to be specific and we should follow the step-by-step procedures. Okay, for the first is we have objective or the layunin. Second is we have subject matter, or it includes our topic, reference, author, pages, materials, and values. The third is the procedures. And so in creating effective lesson plans, it is the key to effective learning, teaching, and critical factor in achieving positive student outcome. So, dapat lagi nating tatandaan na yung magiging flow ng ating lesson plan is yun din yung magiging kahihinatnan ng ating pagtuturo sa mga estudyante. Kung magkakaroon ba sila ng knowledge or kung may matutununan ba sila sa ating lesson. So, every teaches 3 lesson. Ito po yung lagi nating tatandaan. We have a plan to teach, and second, we have actual teach, and which we have a thought. So, it is never too late to correct mistakes that sit back rather than move forward without correction. Ayan, yun po yung lagi nating tatandaan na walang perfecto dito sa mundo. Tama po ba? So, kailangan nating i-correct din yung mga pagkakamali natin, like for this lesson plan, na kailangan din maitama yung mga mali dito sa lesson plan. Kaya nagkakaroon din po ng first draft and final draft. Okay, that would be all. Thank you po. Next, we have Ma'am Trisha for more information.
So, yan. Okay, thank you, sir. So, dun naman sa part ng paglalahat, yun, ang ginamit po na strategy ni Ma'am Lara dun sa LP niya is questioning, art of questioning. So, yun, na-correct, may mga, yung 4 po na questions na yun ay na correct ano po. So yan, yung nandyan po is yung corrected na po na ano na question. So yan. And then yun yung mga punctuation marks, yung grammar medyo na ano tayo doon yan, which is good naman. Yan. At yung iba namang paglalahat kasi ano may pinatatayo yung mga estudyante, ganun, yung kunyari, hanap ng estudyante na magbubuod ng mga ano na pag-aralan, pwede yung mga ganun. Pero sa part na to, ang ginamit ni Madam is art of questioning. Yan, mas engageable naman siya. So, the best din. So, yan naman. Next is yung sa number 4, yung pagtataya. So, yun sa pagtataya, tama din po, wala po ditong na-correct ang ating mga teachers. Meron po siyang binigay na 10 questions. And ang last po is takdang aralin. Tama naman po yung takdang aralin, pero kasi mas preferable na pong ginagamit ngayon yung word na kasunduan. So, yun. Yun po, naglagay si ma'am ng kasunduan dito, na correct din po dito sa part na ito. May na-correct din lang po sa grammar and then yung sa capitalization, ganun. So, yan. Sabi ko nga yan, inihanda ni Ma'am Lara May B. de Guzman at yan po, chinek po siya ng 3 Filipino teachers na nabanggit po ni Ma'am Lara kanina. So that would be all. Alam ko po, we are all exposed within this lesson plan na po, and ang in-explain na lang po namin yung mga kinorek at yung mga dapat pang improve sa LP. At alam ko po na familiar naman na po tayo dito. So, I think that would be all for the final draft. Yan. Ma'am Mia.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Jericho Garcia for the documentation.
Yeah, thank you, Ma'am Mia. So let us now proceed to our documentation. So documenting our activities ensures consistency, efficiency, and standardization. It allows every one of us following to perform at their best and be clear about your expectations of this activity. And we believe that through collaboration and good teamwork, nothing is impossible. And also, we believe that where there's unity, there's always a victory. So that's all for today's video.
Thank you so much, sir. Let us always remember that writing a lesson plan is a crucial skill because it will serve as a roadmap for what our future students will need to learn during class time. At ang pagpaplano ng lesson ay para ding pagpaplano sa kung ano yung gagawin natin sa ating buhay o yung pangarap natin sa buhay. Hindi madali, kailangan natin ng objectives, kung ano yung imimit natin or yung mga expectation natin in the future. And kung makakamit ba natin ito, lagi nating tandaan na sa pagiging future teacher, kailangan natin ng creative and positive mindset sa pagkamit at paglalapat ng mga estratehiya kung paano makamit yung mga pangarap natin sa buhay. Yun lamang po. Maraming salamat.
Okay, may I request everyone for a photo opportunity po for our documentation. Please guys, open your cam. Paki-print screen na lang po sa mga may laptop. Okay, naka-open cam na po ba lahat? G. Para may lagay tayo sa ano. Okay po. So, yan. Sir Marvin, kayo na po.